Hello and welcome, but this week we are not having one take, but we are actually having two takes because there's lots of development which are taking place which are going to have an impact on the big battle for 2024. I'm going to start first with Mahua Moitra because there are lots of revelations which I have been able to access which will have a bearing on the CBI investigation which is now likely to gather steam. But first, the facts. We already know a preliminary inquiry, or a PE as it is called, has been initiated by the CBI. What this essentially means is that based on the complaint which has been forwarded to them from Lokpal, they are having begun the investigation. They are going to then go on through all the information which they have collected, the data which has been provided to them, and then they will decide whether there should be a full-fledged FIR and what should be the next course of action against her. But it's very clear that for now there's a hard evidence which seems to be running against Mahua Moitra. There are lots of stakeholders over here. Jay Anand, the initial complainant, Nishchikant Dubey, and of course that man sitting in Dubai, he holds the key to all this entire case and the murk which is surrounding Mahua Moitra. We already know that in the public domain are her call records, the fact the number of logins which have been made, because those are an integral part of the Ethics Committee report. Now, I have had access to the committee's report. It's almost a 500-page report, and it gives an in-depth account of what happened inside the Ethics Committee meetings, Mahua Moitra's defense of herself, but very importantly, the kind of questions that she asked.
An ethics committee asking all sorts of filthy questions.
Now, for example, was there any correlation between the questions asked and the logins done? Because that becomes the key. That is something which has been probed and investigated by the Lokpal, by the CBI as well, and that is something which could nail her. Because all along the allegations or charges against her has been that she gave the logins to a businessman based in Dubai and therefore asked questions which would benefit him as far as his business is concerned, and something which was going against Gautam Adani and also the Prime Minister. But how do you prove that without comparing the logins and the questions asked on or around those dates? I'll give you one example which I saw in that report, that there was a login which was done on a single day, which is on 15th of January 2021. In the morning, it was done from Parliament House. Fair enough, that's where she may have accessed it. But by 10:03 p.m., it was done from Kolkata, 10:04 p.m. from New York. Now, presuming that Mahua Moitra was in Kolkata, then how was this login done within a minute's time from another place outside the country? So in both the cases, it was one person who logged in, which was clearly not Mahua Moitra. There's a definite rule which has been issued by the Parliament which says that you cannot give logins to anyone outside. And therefore, she flouted that rule. But what is worse is, talking about this particular date, a question was asked by her 2 to 3 days later after this date, where she asked about optical fibers, what is the government's project on that? And second is the finances of MSMEs, what is the government's plan on that? Fair questions, nothing out of the ordinary, but here's the problem. The problem is that both the Hiranandani enterprises as well as the Adanis are interested in the business of optical fibers. Not just this, the Hiranandani Financial Services looks into financing of the MSMEs. So questions were being asked, presumably based on what we saw in the Ethics Committee report, which could actually have a bearing on the entire case against her. So come Parliament session, the big story of course is going to be the disqualification and expulsion of Mahua Moitra. But simultaneously, it's going to be a big war which is going to be waged by the BJP against all those who are standing by her. For now, the Congress, to a certain extent, inside the Ethics Committee, the Trinamool Congress, which is, while it's a bit reticent, also seems to be standing by her, and therefore the BJP will have a larger question to ask, is if Mamata Banerjee considers herself to be a paragon of honesty and a Mati Manush leader, then why is it that she's turning a blind eye to Mahua Moitra? Will this have an impact on the Lok Sabha elections or the narrative in 2024? But this is what is more coming up, because there's more material, there is more events which have taken place. which will definitely have a bearing on the 2024 as well. Okay, done with Mahua Moitra, which could have a deep or may not have a deep impact. But there are other important developments and two main ones. One, of course, is hashtag Panauti PM.
Panauti.
With one thought that it's just going to end with the Congress party calling the Prime Minister Panauti, it certainly didn't end there, unfortunately. As pictures of the Prime Minister flying the sortie, the Tejas started coming out, the pot shots began. Well, pot shots and memes I can still understand. But one cannot accept is that comment which came in from the Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament, Shantanu Hussain, who says, what if tomorrow the Tejas crashes? The Prime Minister must take responsibility. So insensitive is the comment that even the Trinamool Congress could not keep quiet, and therefore they said that this is a comment which is insensitive, we cannot accept it, and they also advised Shantanu Hussain to keep quiet. But I think the damage has been done. You may wish ill for your political opponent to a certain extent, but can you do this? Can you say this? Because this is something which the BJP is bound to use.
राहुल गांधी ने जिस शब्दों का प्रयोग भारत के प्रधानमंत्री के लिए किया है, वो अशोभनीय है.
We all know that we are almost increasingly moving towards a presidential system for 2024 and even before that, where elections have now become personality driven, at least as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned. On one hand is the Prime Minister, on the other hand the question will be asked that who? And that's the criticism that the BJP has always mounted against the India Front Alliance, that there are so many people who would want to become the Prime Minister. Does India really require a Khichdi Sarkar or political parties who are going to fight with each other? And when these kind of comments are made like Panauti, when comments are made like what if the Tejas crashes, it just emboldens the BJP to make the point that so scared are they of the Prime Minister, so unsure are they that they have started making these kind of comments. Well, to use the Congress's argument, the Prime Minister has spared no opportunity to personally attack the Gandhis, use some dirty words, to use the words of the Congress party, calling him Pappu. It did not help the Congress. But I personally think that there are different strokes for different political parties. What works for the BJP may not work for the Congress and vice versa. And therefore, I am pretty sure that let the election results start coming out, and should the BJP do well, the BJP will bound to make the point that who is the real Panauti. Remember the Chaukidar Chor Hai hashtag and the campaign by the BJP, where the DP or a display picture of all the BJP leaders, including that of the Prime Minister, was changed to a Chaukidar, and the Chaukidar was presented as someone who was not entitled, someone who was a poor, humble worker with a humble origin, in stark contrast to an entitled Gandhi family. That is as far as the Panauti hashtag or the Tejas comment is concerned. But the other big thing are the electoral results. Well, of course, I mean, despite what people may say, I personally think that when electoral results are so close to Lok Sabha, it's all about setting the agenda. In case the Congress party starts winning in Telangana, for example, it is going to have a deep impact because it just shows that the Congress will feel that they are down south much better off than in the north. So Karnataka done, Kerala hopeful about, and Telangana, which is a big state, and perhaps it could have an impact on Andhra Pradesh, and in Tamil Nadu they are already in government with the DMK. I had reported this much earlier that what the Congress party cannot do in the northern Hindi heartland belt, they're going to try and do it in south, because in south the Gandhi tag still works. Indira Amma, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Sonia Gandhi, and now Rahul Gandhi is an MP from there. Who knows, they may take the next step forward and Priyanka Gandhi contests from, say, a Karnataka or Telangana. One never knows in politics. But what about other states? Suppose the Congress party does not win Madhya Pradesh. Just goes on to show that the Ladli Behna or the woman card has really worked for the BJP, and that is going to become the calling card for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Rajasthan is another important test case because the Congress was very aggressive. Again over there it was all about Ashok Gehlot. Everyone was occupying a backstage Sachin Pilot. Will this experiment work for the Congress party? The fact that the Congress gave a complete free hand to one man, has it boomerang, and will it boomerang in future? And will the Congress party then have to change its narrative? I think all of this is bound to have an impact on the campaign of the Congress party, the India Front Alliance, and of course for the elections in 2024. Do give in your reactions to not the one take, but I think 2 or 3 takes that I've spoken about this week. And thank you so much for watching.